Hello, Hofstra fans, and welcome to the WB Mason Coach Report with Associate Head Coach of the volleyball program, Hava Davis. Hava, how are you today?
Doing well, doing well. Just starting a new week.
Your team is coming off a solid weekend, 2-0 with two sweeps in CA play. Give us your overall assessment of your play over the weekend.
I think we had a really good performance overall. We had some moments where we scrambled a little bit, but we're showing that growth and movement towards maturity in that we can pull ourselves out of a little bit of a tailspin and play a little bit more consistently. It's really nice that we could get two sweeps back to back against a really disciplined and systematic team like William and Mary. I think I said last time, they don't beat themselves. You have to beat them. And we did a good job to take care of business on our side of the net.
And you kind of did it a few different ways over the weekend. There were some sets where you jumped out to enormous leads. There was a 15-5, an 18-8. And then there was other sets where you guys had a rally late. You had an 8-1 run in one of the sets late. So how are you guys kind of able to mix and match your ways for putting together the success?
Right. So I don't think anyone wants to have down by 8 and then run it back and have a big comeback. But I think we sometimes get a little carried away emotionally. And we had a discussion with the team a couple of times over the weekend where it's, hey, we're not going to get all the points back in one play. We don't need to go really high and really low and make runs like this. We just need to stay steady and consistent. And that was kind of what we were trying to get them to understand is this is a team that's just going to keep coming and coming and coming, and we just have to be consistent with them. I think we were really disciplined with the block at certain points, and that helped our defense and our transition a little bit. And our serving kind of came and went a little bit. We served aggressively at times, and then other times we didn't really hit our spots. And so that allowed William and Mary to get a little bit comfortable. And I think that's where they built some of those leads against us.
Your team has won 4 out of the last 5 matches. Obviously, you've touched on a lot of the reasons for your success, but is there something else you can pinpoint as to why your team is kind of playing well at an important time of the year?
I think it's really honestly just down to them being together for a longer period of time. I mean, chemistry is building on the court. We have, in my estimation, at least 4 or 5 new starters from last season, which was only, 6 months ago. So I think it's just a matter of them coming together chemistry wise and gelling and figuring out how to play around each other and also how to play within the system. There's players who have never been in the program before, so they don't really know our system. And there's players who are just new to starting, who are familiar with the system, but maybe not under the pressure or the rigors of actually playing in competition.
And speaking of somebody not new to your program, an exceptional week. Offensively, she led you guys. Defensively, she led you guys. Serve, receive, she led you guys. I guess was that the best week you've seen her play this season? And how is she able to really just carry the team throughout the weekend?
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I'm assuming you're talking about Anna.
Yes.
Audio went away for a second there, but from what you're saying, yes, I'm assuming you're talking about Anna. Yeah, I would say that's definitely the most complete performance I've seen from her this season. She's had some great offensive performances. She's had some great passing and defensive performances, but not back to back, and certainly not throughout. I think, I don't remember her numbers exactly, but I think she had 30 kills and 6 errors on the weekend, which is huge for us. She's such a steady player for us. And for her to have those kind of performances, I think it takes a little bit of pressure off of some of the other players that they have to be really good if she's so steady. And I think that has a lot to do with why we were able to have a 3-0 performance, is because the other players on the team felt like, okay, she's playing this level, we can step up and do a few things as well.
And speaking of other players stepping up as well, you had 2 players honored by the CA this week for their play. Can you touch on them and kind of what they were able to do this weekend?
Yeah, so getting Sarah back was a huge step for our block and our defense. I mean, Damla last weekend prior to this had an amazing weekend. She was offensively great and she blocked a bunch of balls. But it's different when you have Sarah in there. She's such a presence at the net defensively, and it just changes what we can do with our block and the defense behind it. We can be a little bit more aggressive. And then, having Bia be the rookie of the year, I think for the second time this year, it just shows how fast she's maturing and how quickly she's catching on to what makes this team click and be successful. And at such a young age, she's got a lot of pressure on her to, kind of orchestrate our offense and make sure everybody's in a good position to score. And we feel like she's starting to really grasp those concepts and embrace them.
Hava, you've obviously been around the Hofstra volleyball program for a while or watched it when you were not here. The blocking is something that's not really been the huge part of the program, and it's not just become good, it's become great this season. What has changed?
I don't know. I couldn't really pinpoint it other than just the athletes putting in the time to educate themselves on what our opponents are doing. I think it really makes a difference for them in that they can sort of understand what's coming at them before it happens. Having that information prior to stepping on the court, I think gives them a little bit of a breath of, fresh air, for lack of a better term. They can just relax and make good reads at the net. But having big physical athletes like Sarah and Damla and Athena makes a big difference. Having Zaire out on the right side blocking the other team's big hitter makes a difference. So I think some of those things play into it as well, the physicality of it. But I think it's just a testament to the amount of time they're taking to get educated on our opponents.
And speaking of opponents, this week's opponent is Charleston. You head south for a pair of matches, Saturday at 1, Sunday at noon. Hava, what are the keys to victory this weekend at Charleston? A big series, I might add. Two teams very close in the standings.
Correct. Yeah, we'd love to get some separation from them, get a couple of wins down there on their court. I think the keys are always going to be serving and passing. I think with Charleston, they're very similar to William and Mary in that they're very disciplined and they don't beat themselves. We have to be really aggressive with our serves. We have to be really good with our serve receive, and then kind of let the physicality of our offense take control. Having watched them for the last couple of weeks, they're doing some things differently. They're kind of mixing and matching their lineup. So they're struggling a little bit with what they're going to do. I think they're trying to find a winning formula. But if we can go in there and execute our serve and pass, we can be consistent with our offense. I think we should be just fine.
Well, Hava, we thank you for your time today and wish you good luck this weekend.
Thank you, Stephen. Appreciate it.
And thank you, Hofstra fans, for joining us for another episode of the W. Mason Coach Report with Associate Head Coach Hava Davis.